Hello from Delmarva. Welcome back to Shorebilly Farmer. We are going to go ahead and service the big New Holland here. Just changing oils, fluids, differential fluid. I don't normally do the differential, but ever so few years, it's a good idea to do it. One of the things when you're dealing with the equipment, I don't care what it is, your car, your lawnmower, you should never change the oil when it's cold. You always want the fluid to be warm, and the reason that is because when fluid's warm and it's been circulating, it will carry any contaminants with it out of the engine block when you drain it. If you don't do that, all that sediment goes to the bottom of the oil pan, and most of the time the oil is so thick it doesn't drag the sediment with it. When it comes out, it doesn't flow as good, and you don't get as much of the dirty oil out when you go put new oil in. So we're going to take this outside, let it run for 10-15 minutes, warm the engine up, bring it in here, dump the oil out, and start our service. Let me show you something. This oil here, this oil, and these filters, just this little bit, $850. Now yes, I do use a premium oil. It would have been maybe $50 cheaper to use a standard oil like Rotella or something like that. I have found after doing research that AMSOIL is pretty much the best of the best. And we're gonna try it in our equipment because hey, that extra $50 investment is worth saving that $30,000 engine, because that's what it costs to replace the engine in this, $30,000. So yeah, I'll spend $50 more. So in this canister is where this goes. So we gotta take this outer canister off, and as you can see, it's gonna dump oil down. Doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna happen. So we just gotta try our best. Now some people might think that this is an oil drain pan. It's not. This is actually what the wife uses to bake me pies in, because you know, I'm a big boy and I like to eat. Well, I never said I was a smart individual. I forgot to turn the camera on, so you didn't get to see this get changed out. But inside here is that paper filter that I showed you earlier. That's what the used one looks like. That's what the ensuing mess looks like. So I gotta move this over there and finish cleaning this up, but no matter what you do, it's gonna go everywhere. Bad design, bad mechanic maybe? I don't know. All right, the engine's warm. So the first thing we gotta do, let's see if we can do this. There we go. So this drain tube right here, it connects to the oil pan up in the tractor. So all we're going to do is there's a bolt up there you turn, and then the oil will come right out of this. So you got to get a bucket, put underneath here, drain the oil out of the engine. Now while we're waiting on that oil to drain, I figured now would be a good time to confess something to everybody. Our farm is going broke.
Shorebilly Farmer is not a licensed financial advisor. If you are seeking advice from Shorebilly Farmer for financing, you should also seek mental health.
But don't worry, the kids are going to eat. We're not going bankrupt, we're not going to lose the farm. It's something we plan for. It's something that is actually done intentionally. And the reason it's done intentionally is to lower our tax burden. See, as a starting farm, there's a lot of things we have to buy. We have to buy a barn to work in. We had to pay for a tractor and equipment and planters and sprayers. On top of our normal seed input costs, you know, what it takes to put a crop in the field. Your seed, your fertilizer, herbicides, insecticides, insurance, all of that plays in as an expense. But just for round numbers, let's say in my 9-to-5 job, I make $100,000. Let's say here on the farm, I gross $100,000. I wish. Now, let's say it costs me $50,000 to put a crop in the ground. That's the seed, the chemical fertilizer, so forth. Well, that leaves me $50,000 of profit. But wait, I've got to buy equipment. I've got to pay for that equipment. I got to pay for the electric, the propane, the barn. All of these things cost money. So let's say that burden every year is $60,000. Well, now my farm just lost $10,000. I spent $110,000, but that's okay. I have a 9-to-5 job, and by not separating the farm into an LLC yet, and we're a sole proprietor, I fall under one blanket, if you will, of financing. So when I fill out my tax information, the farm and my 9-to-5 job is all on that same sheet. So that $10,000 loss is shared by my 9-to-5 job. And what it does is it drops my adjusted gross income on that 9-to-5 job, which lessens my tax liability. And let's face it, nobody wants to pay more taxes than they need to. It's perfectly legal because the way our tax code is set up, it is designed to keep us to spend money and put it back into the economy, keep the economy going. That's why they have something called the adjusted gross income. So as you reinvest money into the economy by buying things like tractors, trucks, and implements, that is why your tax bracket and your tax liability goes down and down and down. It actually pays you to stay in debt to a certain extent. You want to go too crazy, overextend yourself, and not make your payments. But that is something that we plan for. So what I've done by buying some of this equipment is I've lowered my adjusted gross income off of my 9-to-5 job, which also lessens my tax liability overall between the farm and my 9-to-5 job, and we end up actually saving money. And yes, we are in debt because I have to have a loan on a piece of equipment, but that's okay, because the amount of money that I'm spending on that piece of equipment every year, because I can either pay it all off in 1 year and claim it on my taxes that whole year and write the whole block off, or I can set up an amortization schedule and pay that off and have it deduct out of my taxes over a certain amount of years, 5 years, 7 years, what have you. Depending on the piece of equipment, we do different lengths and terms. But so that money I spend every year for that piece of equipment would either go into a piece of equipment that's tangible, I can hold it, I can own it, I can take advantage of it, or I can just give it to the government and not have anything to really show for it other than I did my civic duty. Makes sense, right? It's better at this point in the game for us as a beginning farm to stay in debt. We can take advantage of those tax laws and have something tangible to hold on to that will actually make us more efficient. And eventually, towards the end of everything, we can start seeing a profit off the farm and we have equipment that is already paid for. So we don't have to worry about, at that point, still upgrading. Now, you will always be upgrading equipment in a farm. Equipment wears out or becomes inefficient, nickel and dimes you to death. You're always going to be upgrading certain things. But right now, because we are starting a farm, that burden is a little bigger than, say, a 3rd or 4th generation farm that already had buildings and barns to work in, already had equipment on hand that they could trade in and lessen their expenditures. I'm starting from scratch. So that's why we are broke. It is something that is planned for. It was something that is intentional. And it takes advantage of the tax laws that we are given, especially for small businesses. They're always changing. Your deduction rates change. Your how you figure out amortization schedules is always changing. How much you can spend and claim in a single year changes. So you have to stay up on the tax laws, or your CPA does. But it's something that we plan for, and it's something that's part of our 10-year strategy here on the farm to stay in debt, because it lessens the amount of money leaving the farm in taxes, and it actually leaves us something tangible here on the farm. Get it? So in addition to changing oil, we're gonna go ahead and change this is the primary fuel filter here, and come with me. In here is a secondary fuel filter. That's gonna get changed. Got me a new hot rod. So underneath here, we are now in the belly of the beast. There's a big hydraulic filter right here, and there's another hydraulic filter here. And we're under here. We are going to drain all the fluid out of this differential and replace it with good synthetic fluid, as well as the hubs. No filters or anything in those. It's just a big empty cavity with the gears in there, so to speak. Right now, I kind of want to just take a nap. This ain't too bad. I got the heater going. I hope I'm not getting sleepy due to carbon monoxide. Guys, get your phones ready. I have to call Mrs. Shorebilly. Now, if I had to complain about one thing with this tractor, it would be this right here. I don't understand why they put a filter housing made of plastic on here, knowing that it expands, contracts as the engine gets hot, and it basically fuses to the metal block above it. So it is a pain to get this thing off here. The previous owners that had this tractor before me, changed the fuel filter so much that there's supposed to be a nut down here where that nut's been rounded off, and it's made of plastic, and it doesn't come off. So that's about the only way to get it off. And even then, it's sketchy as to whether you're going to break it or not. One of these years, I might just replace it out of principle. Going in. Okay. I'm not strong enough. Gotta get a filter wrench. This big filter right here has a 1/2 inch square hole in it, so you can take the end of a ratchet, stick it in there, and give you some leverage, try to get it off. We're gonna try that, but I've actually had it where this whole retainer just pops right off when you try to use these, and these things could be a bear to get off. So we'll see what we got. Holy cow, that one actually came off. Oh, what a beautiful day. I cannot believe it. Get this new one prepped and ready. So that way as oil is spilling everywhere, go figure, hydraulic fluid. I'll make it covered again. So as it's spilling everywhere, I can try to get this new one back on there. Holy cow, it worked. It actually came off. I am playing the lottery. I'll be right back. I gotta spin around. Oh, for the love of fiddlesticks, come on. Come on, big boy. There it is. Whew. Oh, I don't have to go to the gym now. That was a core workout. Tractor Pilates. We'll call them Trotties. Trotties? No, that sounds like I got the runs. Oh, and when they do this, they put 400 threads on there, so that way no matter what, you're gonna get coated. Just accept it. Oh, for the love of God, how deep is this thing? Sugar. Oh, all right. What a mess. Oh no, I ruined my jacket. All of our fluids and filters are changed, with the exception of the air filters. We'll get them changed out here in a minute. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and service this front axle. Now there's 3 parts to this. You've got fluid in the main differential area, which is right here. That fluid runs all the way up the axle tubes and fills the whole differential area. And then you have 2 hubs. You got one hub here and one hub over there. And they can be seen in here. In order to do this part, I have to move the tractor because we want this drain to be at the very bottom. I think we'll be okay here. It's got a hard candy shell. I'm surprised you didn't know that. There is definitely stuff in the plug here. You know, they magnetize these plugs. I'm not sure you can see that. These plugs have magnets in them. And what they're supposed to do is catch graphite. You know, as the gears mesh together, they create very, very tiny little shavings of metal called graphite. And normally you hope not to see any at all in there, but it's inevitable. You're going to. The oil smells old. So it definitely needed to be changed out. And no, I'm not going slow for the camera. This is how long it takes. This isn't one of those opportunities where you all could have come help. It's okay, I got it. I feel like Joe Dirt. How much is in there? I got the hydraulic fluid on me. How much is in there? I'm drowning in it and gurgling it. I have got to be getting near the bottom of something. Bottom of the bucket, the top of the differential. Is it like pouring out somewhere else that I'm not seeing? Because this is taking forever. I figured since I got a lot of time to kill, because this is not exactly a fast process, now would be a good time for a shameless plug. If you like the channel and the content, guys, please subscribe and don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. If you didn't like it, well, why? Tell me. I'd like to know. Is it me? Is it the blue tractor? Is it the majestic creature? But in all seriousness, if you guys do enjoy what you're seeing, or you got questions about anything we do, or would like to see something specific that maybe you saw in the background and we're wondering why in the heck is that there or like that, make a comment down below, let us know. Since I got fuel all over my hands, I need you to start the tractor now. So go ahead and turn the key to the on position, all the way. Grab that throttle and pull it back. Yeah, pull it back. There you go. Now go all the way forward with it. Pull it back. You did it. I got pulled away from the service of our New Holland. One of the things that my job requires is 24/7 on call, meaning anytime there's an issue with the radio system, I drop what I'm doing and I jump right into the issue and troubleshoot it or ascertain what the problem is. That's what I'm doing right now. I had to get kind of semi-cleaned up so I could come in here and work on the computer. I think it's going to be a simple case, but just kind of highlights one of the fun things that I get to deal with having a full-time job and farming. Not that I'm complaining, very lucky to have this job, but sometimes, especially spring and fall, the 2 jobs want to fight each other for attention. And this job here is the one that pays the bills most of the time, pretty much all the time, and this is the one that wins every time. We are about 2 months, 60 days away from getting started farming here. And it's the beginning week of February, so the end of March is usually when we'll start getting active in the fields. And that's when the fun really happens, guys. That's when, and I know you've all been sticking with me this long. It's been kind of boring and mundane because really there's not a whole lot to do in the wintertime that is exciting. So it's little odd jobs here and there, servicing equipment. But when we get in the field, that's when the fun starts. So anyway, with that, thank you all for watching and goodbye from Delmarva. Shorebilly Farmer, out. It's Groundhog Day. Again. This may never end.